Hello students. Today we are going to discuss the next type of writing skill, that is report writing, and there is one more type of later that we are going to discuss is that of consumer redressal later. As we know, reports is one of the part of day-to-day activities of the business organization. The reports that are taken in the form of oral report or written report. Small businesses concerns itself to get the first-hand information about the various activities of the persons, of the department, of the section, and if the review is taken through oral or written report, it ensures the efficient organization of the activities. Large businesses are concerned in getting the written formal reports. Large business organizations are time fast with so many problems that creates kind of difficulties and problems in their work. And if these problems and difficulties are to be removed, they must get timely report, regularly report in authorizing, in enforcing discipline, and at the same time ordering. So all these activities are going to possible if there is the reports that are communicated to the higher authority. So the reports are the part of business communication. But in day-to-day life, we have various types of reports. Suppose a person or a student who attended the lecture and is reporting what has taken place in the classroom is reported to his friend through oral reports in an informal discussion. It's also kind of a report what they have studied in the classroom. So it is eyewitness report. Sometimes we experience some kind of accidents, some kind of incidents, and some strange events or consequences, and that we narrate when we reach home to our friends, to our relatives. This is also one of the type of report. There may be some programs organized in the college. There are so many activities that are organized in somewhere else, and if it is reported in the oral form, it's an oral report. If the same things are drafted in a very careful language in a piece of paper, so it is a written report. So these reports gives us what has actually taken place. So reports are a part of the business organization, and it details of so many things that we have to encompass. See, we have to study the reports. Definition, if we concentrate on that, reports serve a variety of purposes. Sad in regulating and streamlining the routine business matters, as well as in getting the best of the employees, planning for future, handling problems, and efficient functioning of small business houses. So, for this, definition needs to be ascertained. Hence, a good report is a document, the specific purpose of which is to collect facts, organize facts for presentation, and giving suggestions, if any. Peter Liddell, in his Communication in Business book, defines report as a document providing an account of something witnessed, examined, or work carried out of an investigation together with conclusions arrived at as a result of a investigation. So Peter Little's definition is very much related to the report through business communication perspective. See, a document providing an account of something witnessed. What is witnessed? What has taken place? Someone is eyewitness to it. It's a providing all those details in a document. Examine, or what he examined, or the work he carried out, or what is the investigation that has taken place. So all these things are covered, written in the form of a document, is a report. So these are the reports that we see. So in report writing, what are the requisites? What are the essentials of the report? A good report should have few important aspects that the writer should take into account. First, he should present the facts. There should be accuracy. There should be preciseness. There should be clarity, and it should be presented in a logical format, in a logical way. So these are some of the good qualities of the report should possess. The second requisite is a good report is written with the purpose for which the report is required, means to meet the demand why the report or information is needed. If the report is meeting this demand, then it is a good report. It is also a report which collects the information and relates to the problem. It's also what type of a report. If the report is creating a picture in front of the reader's mind, it's also a good presented report. Okay, so these are the basic qualities of the report that we need to think about. There are parts of a report. See, a report must have introduction, body of the report, and conclusion. If it is to be written in a piece of paper without any letter format, there is no letter format. In such a cases, these three parts needs to be covered. In introduction, the report writer must clearly state the subject of the report, indicate the submission of the report, routine duty, and what is the observed things. In the body of the report should present the collected facts, source of the fact. He must organize these facts in a very presentable light and serving the purpose of the report. Facts must be presented in order of priority, or it should be organized in a very careful way. Relevance of the facts for the good management. So this body of the report should contain these things. In the concluding part of the report, he should re-emphasize central facts, and suggest some of the suggestions at this stage. So like this, these are three parts of a report. Then there is another type of a report that is we have to think about is eyewitness report. Eyewitness report is asked for in cases of accidents when somebody is in person present at the time of incident or accident. So it's a kind of a straightforward type of a writing. Then we have work report. What is the work is allotted and how it is provided, how it is given, what type of things that are made, what is entrusted, what type of work is done, what is pending work. All these are presented. What are the pitfalls, what is evaluation, at what stage the work is, at what stage the problem is. All these things are drafted in the work report or progress report. Then we have next type of report is investigation report. This report is a combination of information report and also of recommendation report. Mostly a committee work or investigative committee work in a systematic way, and they present the report with certain guidelines in their mind. They present a committee report is presented in the 4 points. These points are terms of reference, procedures, findings, conclusions or recommendations. These 4 points are covered in the investigation report. So, in what way it is? So, terms of reference states the purpose for which the committee is constituted, the time limit that is given for the committee to work, and also the time given to the committee to submit the report. Then, in the work, what type of procedure has been adopted to collect the facts or relevant information for the subject of the report is stated here in the procedure. After going through the practical study or investigation, what are the major facts? In other words, what is the interpretation that the committee in their study arrived at is presented in the findings. So, what are the findings that are there? Should be listed in the findings. Then we have conclusions or recommendations. So, these recommendations is presenting the objective observations as well as comments as well as evaluation, and if the committee thinks it proper to suggest as per the study based on study what would be the probable answers and solutions to the problem, to the findings are given in the recommendations. So we have this type of things that are covered in the recommendations form. These recommendations are not binding on the committee, binding on the parent body, but these recommendations are just indicative and humble. It is not binding, but they can suggest. So like this, we have the types of report. For further more information and preparation, you can go through the shared notes with you. So like this, we have studied the report and the basic aspects of the report. See, another type of letter that is for our study is very say important in the rising cases rather, that we see, we feel cheated, we feel that we have been cheated for the sum of money, we have been cheated for providing wrong goods and services. There may be some of the issues that needs to be redressed. There are such complaints. If you feel cheated, you can launch a complaint. And for this purpose, consumer redressal letter, how we have to develop this is also one of the part of letter writing that we have to study. Here we have seen that the today's age there is a salesman's policy. Okay. And in the process of democratization, we have to give the way to the rule of law, because rule of law acknowledges everyone, acknowledges every person. Law doesn't take into account who is rich, who is poor. Everyone is equal in front of law, irrespective of intellectual power, economic or political power, who enjoys and who not, are not a matter of concern for the law. In front of law, everyone is equal. So the business community today confronted with the cutthroat competition, and that is what they readily gave up its policy of caveat emptor. So the customer is our friend, of course, but now customer is a king now. You find that many business organizations professing their commitment to the consumers, but they fail to honor their commitment. As we have seen, the market economy, instead of treating the consumer as a king, They are trying to exploit the consumers, cheat the consumers. Sometimes in the ways, in measures, in prices, in discounts, in quality of the products, and in quality of services. Because consumers are taken for granted that they are not don't know anything, they don't know about consumer, they don't know about technicalities of the product, so the consumer gives up anything. He never pursues the matter closely and never launches a complaint with the so-called seller and the producer. So the consumer in India is not in a position to dictate the market. It is the industrialists, it is the manufacturers, it is the wholesalers and distributors, those who are quite in power. They are able to dictate all these things. There are so many loopholes in this regard in the Indian marketing system. So it is in this context that it is necessary for the consumer to be aware of the rights which the government and through legislation has conferred on consumers. Consumers therefore should refuse to be silent victims of mercenary. A number of financial enterprises have been luring the middle class and poor sections of the society. There are builders also who are also cheating the the consumers in the real estate market. So the government have to pass law on time to time to protect these consumers. These consumers. These consumers are not to be exploited by any in such say cheaters and in such fraudsters. So there should be some laws. And as early as 1937, the government of India passed the Agricultural Products Act. But this act was not so popular. It was not strictly implemented. So in 1940, the Drugs and Cosmetic Act was passed to prohibit manufacture and sale of substandard and adulterated cosmetics and drugs. In 1951, the government passed Industries Act. Then this act contains the regulation of prices, regulation of quality and hoarding. ISM mark Indian Standards Institution Act was passed in 1952. Is a bit of a success in kind of a controlling quality. But the average consumer is still not aware of these acts and regulations. So, at the expense, the malpractices are taking place. So, there is also a prohibition of manufacture and sale of adulterated food. Under the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, it was passed in 1954. The government amended MRTP Act, and for that a commission was set up. And all legitimate grievances brought in front of it, in front of commission, the commissioner was empowered to investigate the offences and prohibit the offending party. So Consumer Grievance Society, it came up in 1966, April 1966, and accordingly Consumer Council of India, which came up in the following year 1967. And as per this, Consumer Guidance Society is not only just an organization, but this society is providing the law, the cause for the consumers to fight for. Others which also help the consumers to fight in their rights are Mumbai Grahak Panchayat Manch, Consumer Education and Research Center, Consumer Unity and Trust, Consumer Voluntary Organization in the interest of the consumer education. These few societies also coming up for protection of a consumer. So accordingly, Consumer Act was passed on December 26, 1986, the Parliament of India passed the Consumer Protection Act for the better protection of the consumers, to educate the consumers, to with an aim to safeguard the rights of safety, to safeguard the rights to information, right to choice, right to be heard, right to be redressal of their grievances, right to consumer education. Right to safety. This ensures the safety with regard to marketing of goods hazardous to life and property. Consumers are definitely entitled to products and services which are safe in all respects. Right to information. This is also one of the consumer protection laws or clause. It provides consumer information about quality, quantity, purity and standard as well as prices. If they feel unprotected, so they can get the information. Labels are there, good prices and date of manufacturer, weight and contents and expiry date are the outcome of this information. Then right to choice. There are competitive prices and these needs to be taken into account. Protection of because of competition, consumers can hope for the better quality of products and competitive prices also. So right to choice ensures that. Right to be heard. This is also one of the thing that we need. Means if you have certain things, you have certain something to tell, you can directly or indirectly communicate to the government. Policies about production or any kind of a policy. So this is also one of the thing. Then right to redressal of grievances. If the consumer feels cheated, unfair trade and practice has been taken, so he can take the opposite party to the court of law. The government has established at district level, state level, and national level such a redressal agencies, consumer courts, where the cheated seller, a cheated consumer can launch his complaint and have his say case heard. Then right to consumer education. This is also one of the clause that ensures the consumer protection. It this allows the consumer to acquire necessary knowledge and skill. He should be a well informed consumer. He should be away from the exploitation by the seller. So exposure to the consumer education, rights and responsibilities, information about the products, buying decisions ensures his consumer education. So like this, these are few important things the Consumer Protection Act ensured. Then there are consumer protection councils. We have seen Consumer Protection Act in section 4. It provides establishment of consumer protection councils at the center and state level. Central Council consists of 150 members with the ministry in charge, while State Council has minister in charge of consumer affairs as its chairman, but number of councils is to be determined by the state government. See, so no, there are district level cells, consumer courts. In Section 10, Consumer Protection Act 1986, as per this law, Section 10 ensures the district level forums and cell for the consumer protection. The district forum consists of a district judge as well as two other members from the social welfare, from the social service, or someone from economics, law, commerce, accounting, industry, or public affairs. And like this, he can serve up to 65 years of his age. Then there is a procedure for redress. When a consumer, be he in an individual or association, or state government or central, files a complaint for redressal to the district forum, he can complain in person, send his complaint by post. He may launch very clearly name, address, description of the complainant and opposite party to against whom the complaint is made. It should state the facts clearly. Submit the documents in support of the charges made by you. Also state the claim. How much you have to be compensated. नुकसान भरपाई किती मिळावी हे सुद्धा आपण त्या ठिकाणी लिहू शकतो. Under Section 13 of this Consumer Protection Act, it lays down the procedure for the district forum. And as per the procedure, there should be a copy. He should send the copy to the complainant, opposite party. The district forum may ask for the explanation within 30 days. He has to respond to it. If it is received well within time, then the matter will be heard for. If in some cases this information is not available, so another few days, and in India we have seen every complaint and every system is delayed, notice has been delayed. So the forum then forwards the copy of a laboratory if it is needed for the company or for the organization to check the adulteration. If the complaint of the company has any objection to the laboratory findings, we may have this. So verdicts of the forum cannot be challenged in the civil court. The proceedings of the forum are acknowledged as judicial proceedings. So the district forum is accepted as civil court. So through the consumer court or district forum, they are functioning well. Time frame is 90 days to 150 days for the disposal of the complaint is never adhered to. Okay, so many times adjustments are there, delayed decisions that we have seen. So like this, we have this type of complaints and how these are to be addressed. We have seen how to draft this consumer redressal or consumer letter. So in the circulated notes you will find that how to draft these say letters. So in today's lecture, some theoretical part about the reports and about consumer protection or consumer grievance or redressal letter, this letter that we have discussed. So some theoretical background, but actually we have to go through the use of language as per the parts of letter writing. You have to organize your thoughts and ideas clear and write very candidly and clearly, following all those points that we have just discussed in the theoretical background of these two reports and grievance redressal later. So these points will help you a lot to draft this later. So with these words, thank you very much.